and then we'll get started. Can you all see my screen? Okay, so welcome everybody. This is our first and probably only district advisory meeting of the school year. It's been a little crazy, but we have lots of great things going on. So we will talk about some of those great things. So today we're going to just do some introductions about who's here. We'll have everybody introduce themselves. And then I want to go around and talk about what's happening in your schools, what's happening in your area. Like I said, we do have some folks from South Carolina Commerce that are here that have joined us. So I really appreciate them coming. I'd like them just to tell a little bit about what they do and how our schools can support our schools. As you see, we have an additional guest, Ms. Howard. She is my partner in crime in special education, but she is also the director of Title III. So she's just going to talk to us a little bit about how to make sure that we are including our ML students in our programs and our CTE courses. I do have some updates from the CTE spring meeting. We're going to talk a little bit about the CNLA that's coming up in 2022, some odds and ends, and then of course, if we have any questions and comments. So let's start. Let's see if I can see everybody. So Beth, why don't you start for me and introduce yourself and where you're at.
All right, my name is Beth Thomas and I'm at High Point Academy, which is in Spartanburg, South Carolina. And what else was it? That's it, right?
Yeah, and what do you do?
Oh, a lot.
Your title at the school?
I am the CTE coordinator and career specialist for K through 12. And my biggest job is to help us grow, which we are, and to make pathways for students.
Great. So we'll actually do this way while everybody talks. So Beth, tell us a little bit about what's happening at High Point and what are some of your thoughts or plans for next year as we kind of wrap up this year?
Well, we have started on Project Lead the Way with computer science this year. That was our new class for the year. We have the largest number of completers that we've ever had this year, which is, we only have 55 seniors, but we have 29 completers. So we're really excited about that. And we are, so we have business and we just started digital arts, and they also have graphic communications. So the kids take the class and then they make t-shirts and so on for the school and do outside businesses as well. And the newest thing for next year is Project Lead the Way Biomedical Science. And our media tech students are, as many of you know, traveling around and videotaping what type of CTE courses y'all are offering at your school, which is really exciting. And they're putting together kind of like a commercial type thing, short video that we'll be able to show. And it's just real exciting.
Perfect. Thanks. Mr. Armstrong, how about you?
Jimmy Armstrong. I was at Greer and then left Greer to go to Anderson Institute of Technology, which is a career center in Anderson County. And then I'm now back at Greer because I had the opportunity when Fred Crawford decided to retire. And so we are looking to expand we're only with business right now. And then much like what's going on at High Point, we're looking to expand with Project Lead the Way and SREB. And hopefully we can get that done over the next 2 or 3 years.
And I'm extra excited to have you on board, Jimmy, because I know that CTE is something that you are passionate about, and I'm really excited to have you there to grow these programs there at Greer. They've done a really good job and they've implemented a lot, so I'm really excited to see this grow even further there. How about you, Mr. Tom? Oh, that's right. I'm sorry.
Okay, we're good. I just got some kids doing some assignments for me real quick. But anyway, I'm Tom Rohr. I'm at Legacy Early College in Greenville, South Carolina. If you're familiar with the area, it's the old Parker High School. So we call it the Parker campus. This is I don't know how many years I've been a CTE teacher, but this is the third year here at the high school. So we got a fairly new program. I am pretty much the CTE department. I do have another cohort that this semester, she is teaching computer programming. But this year, we're not going to have any completers, but at least we're going to have some folks that are, what's the word? Not a completer, but what's the word underneath completer?
Concentrator.
Thank you. So we'll have I don't know how many, but at least we'll have some concentrators. So see what happens.
Mike, are you there? I think I saw he kind of lost audio. So Mike, I'm going to come back to you. I'm going to do the school-based folks, and then we'll go to our guests. How about you, Mr. Josh?
Sorry, always a step behind. My name is Josh Rand. I'm the principal at Fox Creek High School in North Augusta, South Carolina. We've had CTE programs primarily in business for a number of years. In recent years, we've tried to branch into the medicinal field, I guess. We've got a lot of hospitals in our area. It puts a lot of folks to work. So we added sports medicine about 3 years ago, which is a huge benefit to us and our children. And then this new year, we're going to try to add health science as well. So we're trying not to mess it up too bad as we go and as we grow and just learn some things along the way.
Perfect. Joseph, I know you're not officially a school yet, and you're kind of, you won't be in the actual school, but you're my contact there. So you want to tell us a little bit about Learn for Life that's opening there in the fall in the Charleston area?
Yeah, Joe Scabana. I'm the director of career programs. We CTE. They kind of just give me all the other stuff. They give me CTE and all the non-core electives and all that fun stuff. But yeah, we're looking to open in North Charleston in the fall. We're excited about the opportunity to be there. We're going to be focusing on, for CTE specifically, we're going to be focusing on opening with mechatronics and with manufacturing and with IT, looking at cybersecurity, and that's going to be our main focus for CTE going into North Charleston.
Yeah, we're really excited. So you guys are going to be our first school that does manufacturing. So that's going to be really interesting to see how it works out. And I know we've talked a lot, but I'm really interested to see how all of it plays out.
Yeah, we're really excited about it. I'm excited anyway. I used to work in manufacturing back in another life, so I'm excited to get the students the hands-on, expertise in the field.
Yeah, it's a huge need.
Yeah, and like you said, I'm not going to be at the site. We're based out of California. I'm here in sunny San Diego, where all of a sudden it's freezing here today. I don't know. Freezing at 60 degrees. I can't handle it. But anyway, yeah, so I'm going to be based here, and I support all of our different schools, working with the CTE teachers, working with them to, incorporate CTE into our model, which is generally independent study, but it's really individualized learning.
Wonderful. Well, we're excited, and we're excited for the school to open. How about you, Mike?
Thank you.
Are you there, Mike? I think we'll see if Mike will come back here on audio in just a few minutes. We'll come back to him. Okay, so let's have our folks from outside. Susan, I'll get to you when we get to you if you're okay with that. So Jay, do you want to start and introduce yourself? Because you're the one that kind of spearheaded me involving your other colleagues here into this.
Thank you. This is Jay Blankenship. I'm the Regional Workforce Development for South Carolina Department of Commerce out of Greenville. We're very engaged with our charter schools in Greenville County. Long-lasting relationships, beginning with Fred Crawford years ago, I know Jimmy very well. Looking forward to working with you there at Greer Middle College. We have a strong relationship with Legacy. I'm glad to finally see someone from CTE so that kids may not go to college, so now they can really engage in the career aspects. And I have counterparts that cover other areas of the state on the call, which I'm delighted that they agreed to participate. They all bring so much value. We're all uniquely different, but we're also very engaged in trying to help our K-12 system. So again, this is Jay Blankenship out of Greenville. So if you ever need help in Greenville County or connect throughout the state, just let me know. And Jimmy, again, welcome. And hope to talk to you soon. I want to build a relationship with you and David at the Greer Chamber.
Lisa, how about you, if you don't mind?
Hey, thanks, Laura, for
Sure.
including us. We really appreciate you allowing us to sit in on your meeting. I don't know how familiar your group is with what we do, but there are 12 regional workforce advisors across the state that work for the South Carolina Department of Commerce, and we all live and work in the communities that we represent. And so my region is called the Catawba region. I work with York, Chester, and Lancaster school districts. Our mission is really to help create business partnerships with our educators. And so, of course, our partners that make that happen would be the career specialist and the CTE directors. So we're really excited to be here with you guys today.
Thanks so much. And Lisa, we have some schools in that area that are doing CTE. Unfortunately, I did think they were going to attend, but they haven't. So that's why I had invited you guys for schools where I know we have CTE. So our two schools in that area are York Prep and Riverwalk Academy.
Yeah, so thank you, Laura, because I am very, very familiar with York Prep and work with them often. And Vanessa is my contact there. You probably know Vanessa Harrington. And so, yes, I'm very connected with what they're doing.
Perfect. And Riverwalk Academy is also another school right near York that is doing some CTE programs and courses as well. So Dr. Robbie Compton is the school leader there.
Thank you.
Good. How about you, Sherry? Oh, we can't hear you. Still can't hear you. Gotta love technology.
She's not muted.
No, I know. I'm not sure what's going on. It's got to be something with your mic on your computer, I would think. Nope.
And Laura, while Cherie is working on her microphone, I will go ahead and let you know that she works in the same position that I do, but in the Spartanburg region.
So Beth, she's Beth, she's your connection. So Kim, how about you while Cherie works on her microphone?
Sure, I'm Kim Statler. I like my counterparts, but I represent the Low Country region. I think I mentioned this to you in an email. I'm very familiar with the charter district. A few years ago, a handful of us went crazy and founded a charter school through your district. What's cool about that is our high school programming is completely electives for CTE. So we built the whole charter innovation around preparing students for career in college, but doing it based on exposure. So our CTE programming exposure starts in middle school, and then all our CTE happens in the high school. So Mike Rentz, who's on this call, who's having some audio issues, he and I spend a lot of quality meeting time together. I still serve on the board, and Mike is a CTE director. So, and I'm Bridges Charter School would, I think, be my other charter school under your district. They are beginning to build their CTE programming. I would say cybersecurity is probably the most talked about curriculum here in the Low Country because Beaufort's working towards a cyber center with their 2 universities and just received a little over $1 million in planning funds. So I look for both of our charter schools to be interested in a cybersecurity curriculum.
Yeah, and that's great. I think Gary over at Bridges, he is going to start that. I think the other thing he's talked about is the mental health and a partnership with Beaufort Memorial.
What I would
So-
say to you that not just myself, but other colleagues this year have hosted recently with a partner we have in Tallow through SC Future Makers, a virtual career fair. We did ours in the Low Country a couple weeks ago. Over 950 kids logged in. Both of the charter schools were aware of it. Polaris Tech did plug in. I mean, we don't have, our high schools are not huge for either school yet. I think moving forward, we'll continue to do that in our positions and offer that up and make sure the charter schools are connected as well.
Yeah, we really appreciate that. This is a great time too. The other reason why, and you all don't have to stay for this whole meeting, but I wanted to give you an opportunity to introduce yourselves. And for our folks, if they're not familiar with you, to ask any questions or how you can support CTE or how, you know, some things that are happening between you all and our schools. You know, we are now going to be considered our own region according to the state. So, you know, us as a district are, you know, we're very large because we do span the entire state and we have schools everywhere. And we've really grown over the last 3 years, our CTE programs within our schools. I took over this program, I think it was 2018. Beth is shaking her head. Yes. Yeah. 2018. So we've seen a really great growth in what our schools are doing. And there is such an interest. So I really wanted to make sure they had your connections as well, because you are invaluable to our schools as well. So do any of our school folks have any questions for our commerce folks? Cherie, we still can't hear you, honey.
Laura, I just want to plug one thing selfishly.
Yes, please, or anything you all want to add, absolutely.
Who's involved in charter schools. CTE programs are very expensive for charters to stand up.
They are.
We found that, and because of our innovation, there was a tremendous amount of expenditures. For example, aerospace by itself that we stood up in year 1 was an $80,000 expenditure just to get it off the ground, not counting the instructor. So these advancements and innovations that business and industry, who we talk to all the time, really want to happen, we have to get really creative or look for resources and dollars, maybe outside of the realm that we're familiar with, to be able to actually do it. And I think based on what we know as workforce advisors, the advancement in technology is getting more stringent, not the other way. So we're going to have to, for charter schools to compete, and you know all this, that do not get as many resources as our public school district counterparts, we're going to have to be aggressive in figuring out how to fill that gap so that all of our kids have aerospace or mechatronics or, you know, some of the higher end.
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, we have some, obviously we get Perkins and EIA funds, but that's very limited, and it's split for us across all of our schools.
Exactly.
Participate in CTE. So it's not like I have, you know, we're a big district, but in some ways we're a small district when it comes to that. So the funding is limited. I know our schools have done some creative things in terms of funding. So do you want to tell us, since Mike can't unmute himself, since you are on Polaris, you want to tell us a little bit about CTE at Polaris? Because folks may not know exactly. They've got some really great things there too. Yeah,
we have 6 CTE areas that were part of our original charter document. Currently, Mike, are you talking?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Oh,
Yeah,
hey,
go for it.
I can hear you.
Oh, hey, sorry guys.
That's
I'm
okay.
on the phone on the way home, so I was having some problems trying to get it connected to my car, but the CTE teacher I think finally figured it out, so I think we're good.
That's good.
Go for it. You tell our story, Mike. Go ahead.
Okay, well, Polaris, we're K-12 right now. K-12 project-based learning state charter school. We have 5 CTE pathways that are part of our charter. Currently, we have 3 of the 5 in fully implemented: computer science, business, biomed. I'm sorry, we got 4 of the 6. I'm sorry, we have 6. We have 4 of the 6. So we have computer science, business, biomed, and aerospace, as Kim had mentioned earlier. We are still working through some of the logistics of trying to get the logistics track added, and trying to figure out how we can do manufacturing as part of our charter. But it's a little difficult to figure out how we're going to get that one up and running. But we currently have 4 of the 6. We've already got some completers in a couple of those. As Kim mentioned, it's our 3rd year. We are pretty deeply entrenched CTE from 6th grade with Project Lead the Way Gateway courses all the way up to through 12th grade. So that's a little bit about us. And we just hired a brand new executive director, so we've had some leadership turnover here during this school year. So we're excited about that.
Or one of the things I would add for any of you CTE programming, we also measure competencies, and the competencies that are being measured coincide with the profile of a South Carolina graduate.
Mhm.
So those are measured in the school as part of our grading rubric. So it really changes the culture inside the school to feel more like work, which is a big complaint that we get from employers, that kids don't know what work looks like, and they come out and they're not prepared to behave the way they need to.
Mhm.
So just sharing that in case some of you are interested in that along the way.
Absolutely. Do you all have, Beth, do you have any questions? I know Cherie's mic isn't working, but she would be your person in your area.
Laura, Cherie was trying to point to the chat to say that she did introduce herself in the chat.
Oh,
And
okay.
I made the mistake and neglected to mention Cherokee and Union counties that she also works with, and she just mentions that she knows Beth, and
Okay.
they work well. So I just thought I'd throw that in there.
Perfect. Yeah, High Point. So you can see we have some great programs. I hope our commerce friends can see a little bit about what's happening in our district. Like I said, we've really grown. We're really trying to support our schools and have those completers and those concentrators and really build these full programs for our kids. So I'm very excited on the progress we've made here in the district with this, with our CTE. Do y'all have any other words of wisdom or anything?
I'll just holler if you need us.
Yeah, so if you guys would do me a favor, I'm gonna put a link in the chat, and it's a sign-in sheet. It's a virtual sign-in. So if you all could do that, if you want to stay for the rest of this, you are welcome to, but it's really going to be more about, updates and things like that. But this way I have the documentation virtually that you did attend our meeting. I really appreciate you all taking time and joining our group. Like I said, we are typically a much larger group. We do have Greenville Tech Charter High School. If you're, Jay, I know you're familiar with all of the programs that Mary Nell is doing over there. They have their Droid program they're doing. They did their innovative grant for that. We have Bridges that's going to be joining us. And like I said, Riverwalk and York Prep are going to come on board this year with some additional things. So I'm really excited about the expansion over just this coming year. Figuring with COVID and everything, we're still continuing to expand and everybody's still interested in all this. One of the things our schools, at least to me, and our folks help me out if I'm wrong, one of the things we really struggle with is that work-based learning, getting our kids in those, jobs and giving them that experience. So maybe you guys might be a resource for some of our schools to help with that, but that is an area that we really want to see more growth in.
Laura, if I may.
Sure.
As I shared with the group in Greenville when we met a couple of weeks ago, just thinking intentionally and thinking strategically, the RWAs can play a valuable role of assisting our charter schools when introducing yourselves to the business partners in your community,
Perfect.
because most of us should have connectivity to the decision makers that will help provide those opportunities for not only work-based learning opportunities, but those internships, those access to careers and those type things. And so it's imperative that we create some type of roadmap to really let individuals know who charter schools are, what your intent is, the reason why you exist primarily, but also the value add that you bring to the table and the data and the metrics that you bring with your students graduating, they're leaving with college credit, these type things, because most lay people, when they say schools, they're only thinking about a school district. They're not thinking about the charter schools that exist in those communities. And so when you ask for them to go to school XYZ, if it's not part of their district, they're like, what are you talking about? Then in certain areas, your legislators play a large role, because a lot of those individuals not only support charter schools through legislation, but they have family members, in some cases their own children, and they will ask what engagements do you have. So the RWAs can not only help you build relationships through business with those other organizations, whether they be profit or nonprofit in your communities, so that you can get the value add, so that your students and your faculty and your staff gain the opportunities that they need to be successful, to help level the playing field. And so we're very strong advocates of charter, at least we are within our region. And we just want to make sure that you have a voice at the table so those opportunities are provided. We've asked Mary Nell to start attending our recap meetings, which is our local boards, so that she can give a charter school perspective. Jimmy,
And she does have a voice, yes.
talk about things there. And, you know, we've seen the relationship that's been built with aerospace and skilled trades and all those things by doing that, because now they're familiar with charter schools. And I look at charter schools as being part of our ecosystem, but I only look at them as schools, but we need to sell the entire ecosystem. And that's what we can help you, from our perspective, we can help you do that on the regional level, statewide level, so that you're really connected. And that's why I sent you the map of all 12, because even if there may not be 12 charter schools or charter schools in all 12 regions, it's good to have those interconnectivity points. Now, I know
Yeah, and I really appreciate that, Jay. And you guys are such a big advocate of our schools. I mean, some of you are on boards and founding committees and things like that. But I really think that charter schools, you know, we are becoming recognized for who we are, and we are a district, and we do exist, and we do some great things for kids, and we have some great programs. So we really appreciate that. Josh Trahan is out in Aiken County. Josh, I don't know if you have any connection with your regional person, or you all from the Commerce, is that Kim? Would that be who? I got to know my map of South Carolina to know where Josh's school is.
It'd be Joni. Joni McDaniel represents the Aiken area.
And Laura, I can send you the state map that has all of our names and phone numbers, and it shows the counties that we work with as well.
Okay, yeah, Jay had sent me the map.
Oh, okay.
I just always forget where Josh is located in Aiken. I got to pull out like a South Carolina map to
That's
know where
okay.
he actually is.
don't forget Patricia Ferguson down in the Charleston area.
Yes, and then we'll have Patricia Learn for Life. So Joseph, when we have a CTE person at the school, we'll get them connected with her
All right, thank you.
as you guys open up. So,
Sounds
but
good.
Josh, have you reached out or have any connection with your?
No, ma'am. I wasn't aware.
See,
Yeah,
so maybe
was
you
the
learned
person.
something.
Yes, ma'am.
Perfect. So we can get you, and I will send you all that map and everybody's contact. So please feel free. I'm sure they don't mind if you guys reach out to them directly. It doesn't have to be through me. I just wanted to foster this kind of discussion and relationship. As you all know, my commerce friends were autonomous. So I kind of give the schools the information and leave it to them to build those partnerships. So, but we're very excited. And again, I really appreciate you all being here with us today. I think this was good information for everybody to hear.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you,
We'll
Laura.
Thank you
hop off
so
if that's okay.
Yeah, that's fine. Just make sure you do that sign-in sheet for me.
Yep, I got you. Thank you.
And
Thank you
Laura,
all.
where's the sign-in sheet located?
I said it's in the chat. It's a Google Doc. It's a link. It's in the
I
chat.
see it.
Yeah, it's just a virtual to see who's here. So for the rest of us, we'll continue on. And right now we're going to move to thank you, Lisa. We're going to move to my good friend, Susan Howard here. She didn't know she was going to be moved to next. So she's next.
Go with the flow.
Yeah. So you want to tell us a little bit about yourself, Susan, and a little bit about MLs and CTE?
Sure. So not only, like Laura had said, not only am I the one of 2 directors of special education, we cover SPED and 504, but I also am the director of the Title III program, which is our ESOL program, our multilingual learners, and formerly called English language learners or English learners, but now the state calls them multilingual learners, MLs. And I just kind of wanted to do a brief discussion regarding access of MLs to your programs and how you recruit, and be very conscious and targeted on how you recruit your students. So one of the things that I think everyone needs to know, that the limited English proficiency cannot be a barrier for students to access any programs. That CTE is not the only one. It also is any gifted and talented programming, any sports, anything. So limited English proficiency cannot be that barrier. Schools need to work with students and families to ensure that they have every opportunity to access. The other thing that I think that everyone just needs to be aware of is how you communicate with families and what that communication looks like. So if you're talking about enrolling in courses or programs that you might have, you do what you do for all students. You might want to go a step further for multilingual learners and their families by, 1, giving information in the parents' preferred communication model, which is a requirement under Title III, under ESA. You would also probably want to reach out and confirm if they have any questions. There's parent nights. If you do recruitment, if you do clarification meetings, make sure that what parents are going to be there, if a translator needs to be there, or what additional steps you should take to ensure access and equity regarding this population. And then also just looking and making sure that you're doing what you need to do with those kids. I am a resource in the district if you ever want to access me, but also looking and seeing what every school has to have an ESOL coordinator. And so if you don't know who that is, just you can email me. I'll type my email in the message box. And I can tell you who your ESOL coordinator is if you don't know, but they are a great resource to you. I train with them just like Laura does with you for CTE, I do for ESOL. And they can give you information and support regarding these students because they know these families.
Thanks, Susan.
Yeah.
Do you have any questions for Susan about MLs, or are you struggling with anything in terms of them accessing your programs, or? Y'all are a quiet group today.
Oh, it's hump day, Laura. But
I know.
The other thing is just be aware. Often when we look at access, we really need to ensure that that language component is not the barrier. If it is a barrier, initially, you have to problem solve of how to make it not a barrier.
Yeah, just like we do for our special ed students and our homeless, like we do with all the other students. But I wanted to make sure you knew, most of you know who Susan is, but she took over Title III. I get the numbers wrong sometimes.
July 1.
July 1. So it used to be Tracy Sweet, but now it's Susan. Susan has a degree and certification in EL, so she is perfect for the position. And she's got a lot of knowledge regarding the program. So she's a great contact. Yeah, she's a great contact for us.
Is there any type of documentation that in PowerSchool or anything that about how we're recruiting through the different special ed programs or anything like that? I didn't know.
So there's nothing in PowerSchool, Beth, that you keep, but remember, it's all in your program of study.
Yeah.
And in your application that you fill out on how you're going to recruit and how, what efforts is the school taking. So that's all just sent to me at the district, but there's nothing in PowerSchool indicating.
I just want to make sure. Seems like everything's about school lately.
Yeah. It was a great question. Absolutely. So Susan, I'll say the same to you. You are welcome to stay if you want to learn about CT, but I don't want to take up any more of your time than needed. But if you would also fill out that sign in as well, and jump off if you need. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen again, y'all, and we're going to go forth with our updates and things like that I think are really important for you to know. And then we'll go from there. You see my screen again? Okay, good. And hi, Maureen. I know you're on your phone, so you can't unmute, but Maureen Creasy is here. She's our representative at Union Greer, along with Mr. Armstrong. So just a few weeks ago, the Office of Career Technology held their big spring update meeting. Y'all, it was all day. It was 9 to 3 virtual. It was so long, but it was good. I did upload and post all of those presentations and the recorded webinar from there are on our Google site. If you want to hear about, they talked about specific programs and updates. I can't possibly include everything in this because I didn't want us to be here for 6 hours, but please feel free to go in and look at those and see them for programs that you're have in your schools. Don't forget, one of the things we had talked about was about those dual enrollment changes, right? So our students now that are taking college courses at college or career centers can be counted as completers for us now, right? Remember that. There are certain ones that list is posted and we have to apply to be approved. So if you have that happening, those applications were due January 1 for next year. So you guys wouldn't be able to look, if you hadn't applied or put that information in, we can't look at it until the 22-23 school year, because we do have to get the state's permission to have those. But they have changed that. If you remember, that was a big thing, that if they're on the college campus and we don't offer it at our school, we can't count it as a completer, which is a little silly, but now they've redone that. So I'm pretty excited about that. So if this applies to you, let's talk and we can get those applications going for the following school year. Another thing that has come up over the last few weeks is about certification for our CTE teachers. Remember, again, on that support site, there is a license requirement. So there are requirements for certain courses, depending on what course the teachers are teaching and what their credentials have to be. They don't necessarily have to be a South Carolina teaching degree, but there are some degrees and things that are required based on the course that they're teaching. So make sure you're referring to that, or you're hiring your teachers. I did want to update a few things from, I should put this in presentation mode, from the spring update with the CTE office. So their vision this coming year is CTE without limits. So it's that shared vision for the future of career and technical education. And they're looking at these 5 basic principles. So these are things that we want to employ, obviously, in our district, in our programs. Is one of the reasons why I'd asked Susan to join us as well. So we're all aware and we're making sure that we're including everybody. I'm not going to read these to you. You all can read them. But you can see that really they're really focusing on building their career technology education as well. The other thing they shared, which I thought was really interesting, was a breakdown of today's labor market. So that there are more than 20 million jobs requiring a high school diploma with 0 to 2 years of work experience with an average of salary of $34,000 a year. There were 2.5 million jobs for high school graduates with an average salary of $20,000. However, these jobs were out of reach for students lacking new foundational skills. So again, they're really, really encouraging districts to have these CTE programs, to have these CTE courses, because the labor market is looking for them, right? We've got to not only groom our kids academically, but we all know that every student is not going to go to college, right? So we've got to get them ready, whether it's for a college or a career. And then the last one is that there were, postings requesting project management. So really working with your higher level schools, your employers, your business. That's why I thought it was really important to have South Carolina Commerce join us and those partners to find out what skills do we need to get our students ready for. So in your own advisory meetings, either with the region, I know Greenville, you do some, and I know Beth, you take part in Spartanburg's. But you really want to talk about and have those business partners and saying, what are you needing? What types of employees are you needing? How can our program support that? What types of programs do we need? What types of skills do we need to teach these kids? So that's really important, that partnership to get our students ready. The other thing I thought you all would find interesting is about allocations and how we as a district and districts are allocated money. So the Perkins 5, which is the federal funds, is based on a formula. It's census over poverty, and 68%. Our EIA, so our state funds, right? There's 2 pots of money. That's based on our district CTE enrollment. So that is based on all of the schools in our district who have students enrolled in CTE courses. Does that make sense? So the more students we have enrolled in courses and the more courses we offer, in turn, that means more money for our district. So our state funding tends to be much more than our federal funding. We get very limited for our federal. I think last year was about $60,000, whereas our state funding was about $252,000. So you can kind of see the difference in the pots of money. Like I said, the more we get schools involved, the more we have CTE programs and we grow our programs, the more money that means for our district. We should hear about our preliminary allocations for the FY22 year. They're saying sometime in the next few weeks. So we'll see how that goes. As you know, there's always data collection that's coming up now. I'll be sending you all information. I have it to verify. That's having your students, the correct students coded in PowerSchool as either completers or concentrators. That's where they're pulling this information from. So they're pulling that from April 1st through April 15th. I have the first one I just got yesterday. It's an Excel spreadsheet. I'll send it to you with your school and say, hey, can you verify that this is accurate and that the students are all there? If they're not, then we need to add or delete or however. In May, they'll look at career enrollment and teacher information or center enrollment, which doesn't really apply to us. And then the final submission is that last date that they'll have it. And that's what we're used for our evaluation system. If you remember, we have not had any formal CTE performance evaluation because of the reauthorization of Perkins. The last 2 years really have kind of been a freebie for everybody. It is going to start up again. These are those performance indicators that they're looking at. So you can see for FY21 what the goal is and what the state would like the goal to be in terms of those 4-year graduation rates, proficiency in reading and language arts, math, science, post-program placement, non-traditional program enrollment, and any post-secondary credentials. So again, that's really where we push those technical skills, those credentials. Josh, I don't know if you have students. Beth, you could participate, right? Because the students, yeah. So Josh, Beth over at High Point has purchased the whole program of technical skills assessments. So she has all of that testing. Beth, you want to tell him a little bit because Josh probably doesn't know about it.
Yeah, well, the only ones I have are through Precision Exam, which are a lot. I can send that list to anybody. Or if you go to Precision Exams and you look at their offerings, and if you see something that you want your students to test in, I've got to double check this, but I think we bought the license for everybody. So I think that we can, we are a testing center. So I've got to find out how that works exactly. I'm still working on that, but we do have access to all of anything in Precision Exams, which is extensive. I mean, it's, and then I am working with Certiport. I have QuickBooks and small business and one more. Part of Adobe. So if anybody wants more information on that, we've now gone through it once, and we're working on our credentials testing. We're probably only going to have a few because of COVID, and they're just not ready right yet. But we have over 1 million pre-tests at our disposal. So we're just going to let them kind of see where they are and benchmark them and see what we need to fix.
So those are those additional assessments, those technical assessments, Josh, that the kids can get and certificates as they leave, aside from like the completer and things like that. So they're extra certifications for certain programs that the kids can actually earn by taking these tests. And it's another hat, feather in their hat as they graduate to say, hey, I don't know, let's say it's Microsoft Word. I don't know if there's one out there for that, but I have this Microsoft Word and I'm, proficient in utilizing that program. So it's another form of certification for the kids as they leave us.
And let me tell y'all that what she just said about the Microsoft Suite, there is one.
I just kind of
No, but I mean, that actually, that whole suite, at least in talking to Adidas and a bunch of the other ones in the major, in the area, they said that they won't, even if it's for somebody for a warehouse, that if they don't have that, if they can't fill out an Excel sheet, they won't even consider them. So if you offer that, them getting that certification, they'll get a job interview before somebody else. So if y'all didn't know that, that's really, really big right now. So, and I don't think we have access to that certification test, but I could show you how to get it. So if you need it.
So we're really excited about that. So Josh, if that's something you're interested, you can connect with Beth and she can help you out if you have some kids that want to do it. And anybody, I think some of you already have. I know Mary Nell is working with you. Maureen, I think you reached out to Beth at one point and talked about things at Greer. So we're excited that she was willing to do that and she's become that testing site for us. So just a reminder, the EBS conference is going to be virtual. That's huge. I know Beth goes every year, the South Carolina Education and Business Summit. If you haven't, go ahead, Beth.
I'm presenting, and so is our our digital arts and graphic communications teacher. And it's really fantastic because he runs his classroom just like a business world, which is what they were just talking about. So off those, he integrates all those soft skills. So it's really I think there's 179 presentations. So
there's 160 at the update. But there's a lot, and it is a virtual format. Early registration is until May 15th, and it's $199. If you're interested, I think I have the link for registration. I can send it out if you want to join, if you want to have your folks join. That May 16th through July 2nd, it goes up to $225. But if you haven't gone, it is great. I've popped in here and there. It's more designed, I think, for you all at the school specifically than necessarily for me at the district. But it is a great summit and really worth your time and money if that's something your teachers could really benefit from that. So do you guys have any questions about any of those updates or anything? Like I said, they're all posted on our support site. All of the ones from the state, all the presentations, the recording, everything at your leisure. Please feel free to look at them. No, okay. So CNLA. So this is for those folks who wish to apply for funds. As you remember, you have been in those who got funds this year. This was part of our process. They implemented this process this past school year, and it was, I guess for lack of better words, it was a beast, right? So you all joined your separate regional areas, and I really appreciate that you all, really were willing to jump in and work with those folks and really kept in contact. But I was asked just a few weeks ago to participate in a focus group with the state for the 22 CNLA. So we have to do this, remember, every 2 years. So we don't have to do one this coming school year, but we'll have to do one next year. So the state reached out and asked if I would be willing to come on their focus group because we are very different. Right? We are a very different district. We function very differently. And because we are across the state, it's a little bit different. So one of the things that we had talked about and I shared is that for that 22 CNLA, we are going to become our own region. They felt it was really worthwhile to have us as a district do our own CNLA and focus as a region because we are spread out. Do I go to the low country? Do I go to the upstate, right? We're all over the place. So since we apply as a district, we're going to be our own region and do our own CLNA and meet as a group together. Beth is very excited. So you won't have to participate in your other regionals. You'll come join me. So I will need a representative from each school. When you do your sign-in, your virtual sign-in, there is a place for you just to let me know who's going to be that representative. I would like to get a group together and that group together in the next 2 weeks, just to start talking about this process and kind of how it looks. But I'm really excited. Again, CTE, when I go to these meetings and these state meetings, and I think Beth, you went to one for me, they often forget about us as a district, and they have all these other districts and all these other regions. And then here I am like, where do you want me to go?
Very lonely. It was very lonely.
Yeah, because I mean, I could join every little group, right? Because you all are across, you're all at different locations. So I love that they're willing. I really pressed to be our own region. I thought it was very appropriate. I really love that they're willing to say, yeah, that totally makes sense. And they're asking for our input. So if you all have anything you want to share about the CNLA, or make sure that I voice in that little focus group, please let me know. But I will be there, and I will take part in those groups, so our voice is heard from the district.
Laura, is that since that's going to be our first year, is that what you meant? Like, where since it's our first year, that's not going to apply to us, and then we would be on the next time around?
Yeah, Joe, this won't apply to you guys for next year. New schools opening cannot apply for CTE funds in their first year of existence, just because they want to make sure that the school is stable and functional. So in 22, you guys that Learn for Life can be a part of this process, because they'll apply for, that'll be for the FY 2022. Yeah, that's correct. You can't get funds this coming year, but you can apply for funds the following year. So we can still include the Learn for Life people in that group, so they're prepared and to be a part of it.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah.
Spartanburg has worked really hard for us to be part of theirs as well, which I appreciate. But so should I don't want to upset them. Should I do both?
No, so I think this year continue like we talked about, because this year really is going to be updates. I'll take care of updates from our district, which, by the way, apparently they love the way I put our application together. I just kind of guessed, and they were like, oh, we really love this. I'm like, okay, good. I took a stab, shot in the dark here. So continue with them for this year for the updates. But when we start to actually fill out the CNLA, it'll be us. We'll start to meet internally as a group to start talking about it, right? We don't have to do a whole lot with it, but I do want to start having the conversations about it and really start, who's going to do what, that type of thing, to get us kind of back in that mode. But again, it's not going to be due until 22. So we have some time. I just want to touch base and get us on the process of starting about it. So just some odds and ends. Just remember, your application for funds for next year are due no later than May 30th. They are due in Epicenter for you guys that are returning schools. It is your program of study. You do not have to submit a new CNLA or anything like that. You're just submitting your program of study to me. For those that are new, which I don't think, Josh hasn't had funds in a while. So you're all returning. So if you're new and you want to apply for funds, obviously, they have to do the CNLA for them. And I've got Rock Hill working on, our folks in Rock Hill are working on that now. So, but for you guys, it is that program of study. That's it. No wish list or anything, because funds are going to be allocated based on a formula, just like they were this past year. Also, just as a remember, our end of year documents are going to be coming due. So that's our inventory. Please make sure you use that sheet that's in the Epicenter task. The state is very specific on what inventory sheet we utilize. Don't forget your QRMs. They have to be done. And then also, hopefully you all are scheduling or have scheduled an advisory meeting for your area or your school or your region, however, at least one this spring. Another reminder, you all did receive funds. Please make sure they're spent by June 30th. As you are receiving, a lot of you got the EIA funds. As you're spending, submit that. You receive those funds. It's not a reimbursement like the federal funds. So as you're spending those state funds, send that submission in, send those things in Epicenter. Let's get them processed, and we need that documentation as well. Even though you're not going to, it's not that you will get reimbursed again because you've already received the money. We still need that documentation as proof that you spent it according to the budget that you submitted. I do want to let you know I'm still waiting for the results from our audit we had back in February. I think it was February. I haven't heard anything about a final letter. they are going to come on site, and they're not here, but Greenville Tech Charter High School. So they are going to make a visit there. Really what they're coming at, Beth, and you'll remember this when they're at High Point, they're really coming just to look at the inventory. So they want to make sure, remember, any supplies or inventory equipment you buy, you make sure you put a label on and it is identified as purchased by CTE funds. That is what the state does look at when they come on site for our audit. I'm very excited. We were not on the audit schedule for next school year. Yay. So I'm very excited, and hopefully based on this audit, we will stay off it. As you know, obviously with COVID, we were supposed to get audited last year, but we didn't, and we've been audited the previous year. So that's really 3 years in a row. I would really like to get us off of their audit schedule for a while. Again, and that's thanks to you all with having the documentation and submitting everything and being very mindful and spending the funds. That is a tribute to what you're doing at your schools. So I'm hoping we're going to get them off their audit schedule. They are very, very happy with how we've progressed as a district with CTE overall. And I really do think we've come a long way. So here's my information. You all know that, as you can see, like we mentioned, thank you, Jamie. I do have a title change. I did manage to defend my dissertation and receive my doctorate just last week. So I'm so excited. I graduate officially in May. But I got to tell you, the paperwork just to graduate is crazy. I'm spending just as much time filling out forms about what I've done as opposed to what I did for the last 6 years. I'm going to stop sharing, and I'm also going to stop recording. And I'm going to open this up if you all have any questions or anything, and I'm going to put that link back into the chat box. If you all could